I want to be really honest with you. I didn't get a chance to share with Pat, but I had to put my favorite little fur baby to sleep this morning. And I started thinking about our conversation today because to me it was very relevant. I think about the fact that I've now authored 9 books, and that little fur person used to sit with me in my office. And as I'm working on my 10th book right now, I don't have that energy anymore. And so I've had to learn to get it from the universe. And one of the things that really speaks to me is butterflies, which are right behind me. And that whole concept of transformation, and which is why we're talking about crisis to chrysalis, because I believe we can be in crisis in different ways. It could be good crisis. I was sharing with Pat, I lived in London and I was building a house in Tulum, Mexico. That to me is a little bit of stress and crisis in the storm. I lived in London during COVID and there wasn't a lot of allowances for flying back. So it can still be good, but it's a change. It's a process. It's kind of like an unveiling. And that's pretty much what my entire life has been. So we're going to talk about that and what got me to this place, because I am from Canada originally, moved to Texas 27 years ago, became a dual citizen because I saw that the United States was the land of opportunity. And I grew up on welfare. My mom was a single parent of 4 kids, and I was the oldest. And I just remember looking at the houses down the street thinking, I wonder what that dad does. I wonder what he does so that the mom can stay home and they live in a safe house and they don't end up on the street and they're not living the life I live. And I thought, well, I want to do what that dad does. So 30 years later, I've decided I want to do what he did. I want to do what I do and my way. And one of my favorite friends, Sandra Yancey from eWomen Network, she always talked about her story. So her story versus history, right? And so I think of it that way. I got to start making my own history the day I realized that I was in charge of myself. And that was a big deal. And unfortunately, that didn't come till I was in my early 40s. So I'm going to tell you why I started this idea of these 6 tenets that can help you move through a difficult period and or something positive. When I wrote my first book, I thought I was going to be traumatized for life because I'm actually an introvert. And I've stood on stage in front of hundreds and hundreds of people and trained the top 100 CEOs on the generational gap, but I was terrified. And so it was a requirement for my work. And I had to learn to get okay with stepping outside, being an introvert, because we live in an extrovert world. And if I felt passionate enough about whatever that message was, I had to learn to do things differently. So to me, even then, that felt like a little crisis because I was required to kind of shed my old thinking and step into something new. And so that's what I'm going to share with you today. I had started on my latest book about 13 years ago. And someone asked me what sensual life really means. And I trademarked the name sensual because I was sitting on a beach going through a divorce, and I'd been single 20 some odd years, and I married my cosmetic dentist. I have a nice smile. And we lasted 3 years. And so at the end of that, he decided he wanted a divorce. I say he took my money, but let me just be honest, ladies, I gave it to him. Why? Because I thought that's what a wife is supposed to do. You invest in your partnership. So divorce, had to move out of my very nice home and got to move out of my office with my husband at the time. And my daughter, who had been clean for 8 years from a meth addiction, started using again.